Dogs? Dogs. I'm not sure what you're just being Alex. All right. So we are back on the Mana Symbol channel, trying out something a little wild looking here. So I tried some experimentation with Calibrated Blast right at the beginning of the Modern Horizons 2 season. For those who do not remember this card, it's 2 in a red. Instant reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card. Put the revealed cards on the bottom of your library in random order. When you reveal a non-land card this way, Calibrated Blast deals damage equal to that card's mana value to any target. So, what this deck has done versus previous versions is, instead of trying to do any cuteness with Brainstone to make sure that you hit it, or scheming symmetry or any of that nonsense, we're just loaded up with a bunch of 15s. We've got 8 15 costs, 4 12 costs that we can hit, as well as Throes of Chaos. Throes of Chaos is a cascade card that cascades into the Calibrated Blast exclusively. It also has Retrace. So once you hit one of these, you can discard one of your 40 lands to keep casting it over and over again until you run a Calibrated Blast in your deck. But then Calibrated Blast, of course, is flashback, so you've got a couple ways to do that. In the mana base, there's some important things of note. Scion of Draco is actually castable, since this has domain. The domain ability word on this card says that it costs 2 less for each basic land type. And since we have a Indatha Triome and 2 Steam Vents, all of which we can fetch with all of our fetch lands, that means we can cast this for 2. So it's possible we play a 4/4 beater. We've also got 1 Boseiju in the main deck, 3 in the sideboard. This makes our Calibrated Blast uncounterable. But we have a bunch of lands that can deal damage. We've got Mishra's Factory, which becomes a 2/2 assembly worker and can pump other assembly workers. We've got Sunscorched Desert and Ramunap Ruins. Each of these does damage in different ways. This one just by entering the battlefield. This one by activating and sacrificing a desert, which Sunscorched Desert is. And then we've got Piranha Marsh, enters the battlefield tapped, and target player loses 1 life. So we've got 12 lands here that deal direct damage, so that we can set people up to take 15 damage and die. Sideboard has a sweeper. That's pretty good in Rough and Tumble. We got a Nephalia Academy, which bricks your opponent's discard quite badly. We've got Consign to Oblivion. This deals with hateful permanents. Of course, more copies of Boseiju and a little bit of graveyard hate. So I figured I'd fire up the meme cannon. Sometimes it's just fun to do, as my wonderful guest in the chat, Jacob Comiskey, has suggested. And just go in there and stop blasting. I finished off the league that I started off on the last stream with that blue-white tweak of Burza, and I went 1/4. So sometimes trying to play good decks is hard, or craft good decks. Or I'm convinced the first time we played that mono blue Burza deck, I got pretty lucky, because I did, especially to get the 5-0 with it. But I do think I learned some things from that tweaked out deck list that I kind of suspected when I went into it. One is just that Karn plus Urza, it's just, there's a bunch of cascading things that happen when you try to jam both those cards in a deck that is not able to consistently put together mana, and I'll talk about it at some other point. But I'm not surprised that it didn't go so well, because I've experimented quite a bit with different decks like that. And anywho, and for those who are regulars here, I'm experimenting a little bit with my setup, so let me know if this is good for you guys to watch. Where I put the camera makes me look way bigger than where it was. We've got a Calibrated Blast. We have 3 lands. I mean, this hand doesn't even look like we're playing a weird deck. This hand's just a banger. So, let's go. Yeah, ASIM 5K. I figured that there were probably a bunch of people who'd want to see me play a deck like this. I think a lot of people probably enjoyed when I played the Glimpse of Tomorrow deck. So, yeah. So, I think it's entirely possible I'm supposed to lead on Mishra's Factory. No, that would be if I hadn't drawn the second fetch land. This means I could play a 4/4 on turn 2. And I'm not even really going to look like that's what I'm up to. Not 100% of the deck's ASIM, but like pretty close to it. Pretty close to it. Woo. I'm getting used to my eyes having to track to a different spot for the chat right now, so I apologize if I miss any messages. I don't think I've missed anything so far, but I'm not pushing the music on this one, Alex, just because this is just unusually quiet for no particularly good reason. So if I do that, I'm going to have to turn it up and then turn it down and then turn it up and then turn it down, and I'm just like, I'm not micromanaging that. So they're likely holding up Counterspell here. I would have to shock to get the Scion in here anyway. And so we're just going to blank their mana by playing the Wooded Foothills and passing the turn back. I'm just going to skip this because I was hoping for the song. I typed in the song. Song was what I wanted. And I got the full scene from The Mask, which is a great movie, but I honestly think the way that this matchup's going so far, this is going to be super, super easy. They're not putting on enough pressure. And we should fairly easily be able to play through what amount of counter magic they have. So I'm going to play at Mishra's Factory here. And the current plan is to go EOT Blast, and then untap and play Scion. Although blasting here is pretty good. Yeah, blasting here is pretty good. I don't even need to play through a counter this way. Now this can't kill them. Whoa! Main deck Spell Pierce. They're learning. No. Yeah, I won't play for Spell Pierce. Damn. Alright.
Hold on, this is a little hot. I just noticed it capping a couple times.
There we go. Sorry, the gain setting on my microphone is really it's very tight. So like if you want to change it a small amount, you really gotta be judicious with the pressure. So trying to attack with Mishra's Factory here probably just gets me Stone Rained. But now they know what I'm up to, so they're not going to tap down or take any extra damage. So the tipping point I'm at here right now is like, do I want to try to play Scion of Draco? They counterspell that, and then I get to play Ramunap Ruins and chip in with the Mishra's Factory, and I'm pretty sure that's where I'm at. Although, then they get to dash Ragavan, potentially hit me for 5. And end up at basically exactly this spot next turn. And the question is, do I have a plan for getting through this spot next turn? At the end of that turn cycle, I'll play Blast out of the graveyard. And then Blast out of hand. Which is not great, but they might be at 17 at that point. Which is going to make things... And then they could go to 16 after that. So we're pretty close. I think this is the way we go. So play Scion of Draco. Hopefully they have to counterspell this. It is possible they have like a Thought Scour into a Unholy Heat. Should be kind of a pain in the ass. Good. Okay. Most likely they're going to flip the Channeler here, but that's fine. Hey, it's not fine, but it is what it is. They go top. No, they put it in the graveyard. Cool. So we do this, this. Chipping in, baby. Get out of here. Get on up out of here with my eye holes. I'm the eye hole man. All right, so this turn we throws into Calibrated Blast. And then next turn we flashback Calibrated Blast. Thanks, Barbecue Hoss. Also glad to see the list command is working as intended. Although throws I have to do at sorcery speed, but then that means we get rid of this treasure. Whereas I can Calibrated Blast on their end step, followed by... We're only going to have 5 mana. But then I could cast and chip in, which might kill them. I see. Not that I know of, Jen and I, but you let me know if you spot any sparkle dimage. Obviously being the sparkling one, it's hard to look inside, or rather outside. Easier to look inside. Feel around, you know. I'm out here, I'm felling myself. So the real question is how many counterspells they have in hand. They only play 4 plus apparently some number of Spell Pierce. This is probably the end of their counterspells. Okay, Chandler still not flipped. Throes of Chaos resolves, does nothing. As they should, Jen and I, as they should. Lightning Bolt. Last card in hand is Ragavan. Oh, they upkeeped. Okay. And now they're bobbling because they're trying to make sure. Okay, so we're going to 2 here. We could get burned out, and they're trying to scry into a counter. They got really lucky with their draw. Like, they haven't found a single Murktide region or anything like that that's been, clunky or not useful. The monkey can't take anything off of us that's going to kill us, which is nice. The real concern is just how many looks they've had at a burn spell. But we can actually Calibrated Blast in response to their burn spell. So if they go to burn us here, it's not necessarily... I could just blast them now, right? And then, so this is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we're only doing 15 or 15, though. So I have to Calibrated Blast plus attack with the factory. So let's do that now. Yeah. And then hopefully we don't just brick here. Where is the damage? It's Emrakul? Cool. So we smashed them for 15. And then now they need to draw a burn spell that kills me or Unholy Heat. Sorry, a burn spell that kill... Sorry, Unholy Heat. Yeah. Burn spell that kills me or Unholy Heat for the factory. We got him there. Yeah, Sunscorched Desert off the top would have done it to 2. Yeah. Okay, so Dead Gone is our boy here. So Dead Gone is... Sorry, Rough Tumble. Oh, each creature without flying. It's 2 damage. Huh. Maybe Consign to Oblivion is better here. And then Boseiju's. Maybe it's just the Boseiju's. Maybe interacting with their creature for the most part is not going to be a good idea. And then if they Blood Moon, which they can do, all the important spells we want to play are red anyway. So... and then in terms of lands I want to cut, Blast Zone seems okay. Scavenger Grounds is fine. And then all the ones that ping them are pretty okay. That said, the way these games are going to go, I don't think I'm in a position to Stone Rain myself with the Scavenger Grounds. We're on the draw, so you definitely want Gemstone Caverns. Yeah, I'm not 100% sold on the split cards. If only in that you're severely reducing the slamming damage. I think I'm just gonna cut a couple fetches here, honestly. This may be wrong. Maybe I'm supposed to cut Forgotten Caves or... See, all the colorless lands do little chip damage, and it's really important that we do that. So I think I'm okay with this. The Scavenger Ground's okay, Carrion Lich. I'm just like, on the draw, it just seems way too slow for what we want it for. Okay, so Boseiju and Throes of Chaos are not friends in this hand. However, we have a turn 2 Scion, which I think is supposed to make this a little bit more palatable. Like, this hand has a very definite plan, and then if we pick up any more copies of Calibrated Blast, that's good. I'd actually ideally like to draw a different land rather than Boseiju to play at some point. Actually, I kind of have enough as is. Just with the most important thing being like this does 2 damage to you every time you want to use it, which is like, you know, pretty... That's not my favorite draw, but it is an untapped colorless land. So, the blue bounce one can keep you alive against Hammer, but it's funny because I always think of I think of the red sweeper as being better against Hammer on turn 2, because you're just gonna wipe out pretty much all their creatures. Turn 2 Murktide Regent. How big is this? Fuck, it's just a little bit too big. Well, yeah, this is a whole situation. Well, here's my 4/4. They won't be Unholy Heating it, and to be fair, they do have to be more precious with their life total than we do. So unless they have double burn for this, I'm pretty okay with this. So when I read Consign to Oblivion, the fact that it bounces permanents make me think like, oh, you want to bounce hate pieces, but there realistically aren't any hate pieces for this deck, right? Like, it's just you want to interact with this deck on the stack. That's your plan. Okay, so they're gonna take the blast set of our graveyard. That's fine. Apparently, they're okay with going to 15 against us, which I think is insane. But maybe they just didn't have a different plan. So we can Piranha Marsh or Sunscorched Desert them here. They're pretty even. And we'll be cycling Forgotten Cave. But this is ETB tapped, so let's do that one. Exiling your library is not a hate piece, Jen and I, which can be interacted with Consign to Oblivion, which was what I was very specifically describing. But you're not wrong. If they exile your entire library, you're definitely going to have some trouble. That said, the mill matchup must be hilariously easy for this deck. I mean, I cannot possibly imagine losing it. Okay, so coming in for 12 here. Likely dead. Unless we draw... I don't know what we can draw. Yeah, I mean, but you're right, Barbecue Oz is like that's like definitely a thing that can happen, and it's kind of tricky to balance. Next to the follow there, Mark Ryko. So I think we just play Sunscorched Desert here, ding him for 1. They have 3 cards in hand, so I have to go on defense here, or at least try to. Oh, thanks God with a shotgun. I do what I can. I just think the modern format's great, and I wanted a slightly more, I'm going to say palatable. I'm going to use the word like vomiting of the weekend's worth of information. It's obviously not a very palatable word, but I just found a lot of the... I just wanted that to exist. That's it. That's all. I just thought that would be a cool thing to exist for people who were interested in it, and it seems reasonably popular. Not quite as much as I was hoping for, but... Anyway, we have them at 13, so in theory, if we ever resolve a Calibrated Blast, we're going to take the win here. So the question is, do I want to go to 1 or do I want to go to 3? Both are pretty equally awful, but let's go to 3. Make them have a bolt, specifically. They could put Soul Guide Lantern in their graveyard. Thanks, God. I don't even feel like that's me anywhere close to my maximum amount of enthusiasm, so it's cute to hear people always... okay, they soul guided me, so we're just dead here. It's cute for me to hear people say, like, oh, I love the enthusiasm and the energy, and I always feel like I'm pretty well restrained on that. It's funny because I chose not to do as much of a broadcaster-y voice as I would have liked to hear. Okay, so this hand is just not gonna do it. I should have boarded out some number of Gemstone Caverns here. Okay, this hand is much better. Much mo better. So I think we lead on Factory. No, we lead on one of the tap lands. So there's just no way I can... So we probably go tap land, Factory here. Ship one of these two. Probably the Autochthon Wurm. Because if I start putting cards in my graveyard, having an Emrakul in my hand makes it less likely that they can Thought Scour me and have me shuffle my own graveyard back in. I think that's a small edge. Really not a big one at all. Like, if you didn't do that, it's probably never going to come up, but it definitely could, and then you could lose a game. But anyway, so the character of Mean Monogreen of Llanowar is basically me with a newscaster delivery, and I was considering doing like more of a voice, you know, more of one of those old timey broadcasting voices that I really enjoy. And okay, so now I can go untap land, which is fine, but if I get a red source, I could cycle this. Am I looking to get up to 5 mana this game? Yeah, potentially. So let's go Factory and pass. Goddess Girl. I would like to say I stream full time, but I don't consider 5 to 6 hours per, like, six days a week to be full time. And like, I record, write, and edit for a podcast. Plus, I do This Week in Modern now, and I do some Magic themed music videos, which you can find stuff like this. I would like to be a full time content producer. I wouldn't say that I'm there yet. I think, in a way, I think if I had committed myself to being a really great tournament player first, like 100% without the streaming part, then I could have taken that and then started streaming, as people like Y Prince P have done. Anyway. Yeah, thanks, Goddess Girl. I do what I can. Just one of those people out here trying to make the content that I think the world would like. I should have grabbed a mountain. I actually forgot that this deck has mountains in it. Right, so Calibrated Blast while they're tapped down. We got a Autochthon Wurm. So opponent's at 3. So this severely limits their options from here on out. Yeah, I think so. But the funny thing about it, God with a Shotgun, if I can get back to that point, was just that certain things about it I feel like would have been easier on me if I was doing something that was a little further away from my voice. But I mean, it's really not going to make a big difference. Like, I think it is where it is now, and that's how it's going to stay. I find it easy to read the scripts and stay in character for the most part. And I think, I mean, as you are not the first person to tell me it's got a good energy to it, and other people have as well. So I need to play this Forgotten Cave this turn, and then just hope that I survive the next hit, and then we need to get through with this factory. We'll have the opportunity to do so next turn. Needing this next red mana is a real pain. I do, Doberun. I do, on a bunch of Discords and on the Modern subreddit. The Modern subreddit doesn't allow video embedding, though. The first time I did Twim, I did like the preview episode. I did that on the Magic TCG Reddit, and they do allow you to embed a video. So I think we just play the Forgotten Cave here, because this is double red. Sorry. And then we'll see. Yep, we'll just see if we squeak this out. Hey, Larynx, yeah, I'm alive. I just took yesterday off in support of a day off Twitch. So, all right, they're trying to fill up again. They're actually already there with the Serum Visions, so that they're not trying. Oh, Larynx Punchworthy, resummon with that sweet Prime sub. Yeah, God with a Shotgun, and that was the other thing. Sorry, getting back to your point is, like, Modern is an interesting format people should be interested in. Although I was talking with Cave Dan, and I wonder if people here noticed from Twim 1 to Twim 2 and 3, it's been a not indistinct shift in tone because of it's just some good input I got from a fellow content creator about people are more interested in decks than they are in players. If you provoke your opponent to fetch, you kill them with Landspog. Yeah, I just don't think there's any way we can do this other than just jamming the Calibrated Blast here. They've just had too quick of a clock. It's just not. There's no. I can't do it. I can't get this game. I don't think it's possible. We can attack a factory. It's very likely they have a burn spell. I think it's probably more likely. Actually, it's probably more likely that they have counters than a burn spell. But like we can see they kept in burn. Okay, I'm just gonna go with the factory. I think this is much more likely to win me the game than than trying to cast the blast. If we lose, we lose. Like this is actually going to be a. I said it was going to be an easy matchup, but I didn't remember quite how consistently quickly they could put it in their clock when they know there's no interaction. So, we got there 2 out of 3. Yeah, it's more likely they have counters. It's also equally likely they have both. Just give me 1 second. I think they probably had both, and it's not unlikely. I said that it was going to be an easy matchup. I expected them to do a lot more damage to themselves in game 1, and for us to get that one. So, did we get 1 or 2? Game 1 or 2? I don't remember. I'm sure one of you remembers, but anyway. Oh, I think they got game 1 because of the Spell Pierce. Yeah, thanks, Jen and it is definitely easier when people, especially streamers. That's the thing. Is like I don't think a lot of people are interested in too many grinders, but like people who are like former big time Pro Tour players who people are fans of, like Wafo Tapa. That's an easy one where it's like mentioning that is probably something that most people are interested in hearing about, and then there's streamers, and it's because people can go and see them right now, like they're current. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have that much of one, Jen and I don't think Gabe Nassif has like the greatest quote unquote streaming personality in terms of like when you compare him to the average Twitch streamer. But he's not bad at all. And he... Can we do that? Obviously has the appeal of having such a great career. I think I want to cycle this Forgotten Cave on their first turn. Because there are 40 lands in this deck. Yeah, and I think... Yeah, but it's not flat water, Kaya. It's not flat water. Come on now. Yikes. Not what I was looking for. Yeah, there's a lot of Magic players like that. They didn't get into it to be No, I know, Kai. I'm just saying, like, that was a wonderful. I was intending to compliment you, and I apologize if it came out differently. And I think you do have a great thing going on, Kaya. Being someone who is, competitive. You've got like that good Zoomer energy. You're part of the LGBT community. LGBTQ. I don't know what the default is for most people to include, but you're competitive. Like Autumn Lily was. I'm still sure that they are one of the greatest players on the planet. I should play this now, but they're just not doing that much, like streaming or competing in formats as much as I've seen. Which is fine. They're not required to. You're not a Zoomer. No, but you have that good like canister. Like you get them even though you're not. You don't. What do I want to say? It has the same feel a lot of the time as like canister, where like your stream has that like zoomer energy a little bit, not quite as obnoxious. All right, so my opponent's at 4. I don't currently have a way to do more damage to them, but I'm sure that'll just all work itself out. What does Zoomer mean? They're like the current internet generation. A lot of them are and the Zoomer Magic players are like 16 to like 20 years old. I think 20 is probably an upper limit for them. Yeah, Twitch meme energy, definitely real. I wonder if I'm gonna get Soul Guide Lanterned. I assume that I am, or something similar. Okay, so if they have Graveyard Hate, it's gonna put us in trouble. Aether Vial? Yeah, it's not gonna do it. Oh, opponent. Zoomers from 1997 up. That seems a bit old, but maybe. Whoa. Red, white, Asmar, and Martica Dice in a cool car. Love it. I love that for you, opponent. Yeah, that's a really good definition, though, Barbecue Hoss. I think that does kind of hit it on the head, though, because... Oh, no! I forgot to float the mana. Okay. I'm just dead, because I was talking. Okay, we should have gotten this game, but I forgot to float the mana. I was so enamored with my opponent's sweet deck that I just punted there. It's okay, we needed a restart anyway, so I'm making that as my other excuse. So that should have been a win. There's nothing in our deck that we could have hit there that wouldn't have killed them. Little bit right now, Alex. No, not really. I'm just like getting back to the game right now. Right. And that makes sense, Doberun. All right. So we're against Red White Asmora. Rough being a sorcery is a bit rough. I don't think I want any Boseijus, so I'll bring in Scavenger Grounds as an extra untap land, and then I think we'll go from here. I don't really feel like I need Rough Tumble or Consign to Oblivion, but maybe I'll be proven wrong. Cut the gemstones on the play. Yeah, I'm probably supposed to do that. You're right. Sorry, I'm not good at playing with Gemstone Mine anymore. The bigger problem for me is the 40 lands. Like, I just can't keep it in my head, like, what is and isn't in this deck right now. This looks pretty good. This is 18-ish damage. Sorry, 17-ish damage. And then we're well set up to draw a Scion of Draco. So it's like most draws in this deck are going to get this game done. So the reason for that, Larynx, I think basically comes down to you need the hit rate to be higher. You're spinning the wheel here. There's no ability to calibrate this Calibrated Blast. This is an uncalibrated Blast deck. So you need more than 4 15s to make this work. So now they're going to have life gain to the tune of, well, a bit. So we're going to need to resolve Well, we're just probably going to have to resolve 2 blasts this game. But we're set up to do that. So, should be okay. Why are you playing this card again? Because it's kind of fun and interesting. If you read between the lines, that means not good. Well, more specifically, I didn't say it was good. Yes, it's fun and interesting. Grim Labmancer, sure. It's basically bad creativity. Well, it's just a very different card, and it's a very different deck. So we hit a Throes of Chaos. Well, that's no good. So it's only going to do 4. They're going to go to 15. We're going to be able to Throes of Chaos into the next one. That's going to probably do 15. But then, unfortunately, they're going to be able to gain 3 in response. But we get to take them off the Saga. Then they can get a Shadow Spear. But then the next one should kill them. So we'll see. Incredible play patterns. Yeah, they're not bad. I know you're talking about the deck. How do I unclick off their clock? I don't... How do I get Magic Online to recognize that I've clicked off their clock, which I can type in? Magic Online, you beautiful broken piece of garbage. We love you. You don't have to do this in response, opponent. It's not necessary. Okay. I'm not even gonna... Don't worry about it. Set their clock to 0. Yeah, that's the plan. Scion of Draco. So we're only doing 12. That's fine. So as long as they don't graveyard hate me, we get the next one next turn, and that should be game. They could gain 4... 8... No, 7. Should put them to 12. So we should get them on the next one. And if we don't, then we're not going to make it. Did they make a construct? Okay, so they're only going to gain 4. Interesting choice. Not sure about that one. Yeah, we've had some pretty good mulligans, Haas. The opponent, you can't attack with the... Okay, whatever. It's fine. I don't think they realize that they're dead. But that's okay. That's okay. That is not... It's not on them to know. Technically, they're not dead. We could brick. I need a second red source here. Good thing that I didn't just do that. There we go. Emrakul. You go to -11. They can gain 6. What I was expecting them to do there, Unholy Civ, is get the Shadow Spear, equip it to Asmarana Marquesina, cool the card, hit me for 4, gain 4, and then have a food crack. They would have had 4 mana to do that. But they chose to make a construct and then put the Shadow Spear on the construct, which gains them 0. and gives them a potential gain of 0. So I don't know what they were doing there, but that's okay. That's okay. It's not on them. They don't need to know. Yeah. I mean, they had a potential... I mean, I think they could have gained 7. I think so. Unless I wasn't counting like a Sunbaked Canyon that they needed to tap. I bet I wasn't. Oh boy, these play patterns that are exactly the same sure are fun and interesting. Listen, if you haven't played the deck, then it's fun. Yeah, this sand is sick. Like, just like disgustingly perfectly good. So we're gonna keep this one. Anyway, you haven't played Amulet Titan, and that deck isn't fun. I mean, so when I tried playing Amulet of Titan, I played into a field of horrible, brutal hate, and that was not fun. But the basic idea of Amulet Titan seems kind of fun to me. I just don't actually enjoy it. Like, the play patterns are pretty interesting. Unless you're just like, oops, lol, Titan, kill you. Which, you know, does happen sometimes. You guys are great. Let's blast them now, because I don't know what this could be. It could be some kind of hoser. Take off, you hoser. Cheesy. 15, huh? Well, so again, this deck to me is a lot like the Glimpse of Tomorrow deck. Like, it's very interesting in creation, and it's fun to blast off with. So I'm blasting off with it one time for a recording. Looks like fun. I don't have the tenacity. I don't have the discipline, and I don't have the desire to be part of making a deck like this better. But I do think that this is like probably close to as good as it's going to get. So we can't Throes of Chaos now for the kill, which is definitely significant. But we could just draw like that. That's also probably going to get the win. Perspicacity. I might. What is this? Sure, that's fine. You have died. Can't do less than 3. I'm not even checking what it is. All right. So 1-on-1. We punted a game there, so we basically 3-0'd that match, which is not surprising to me at all, because that they did not seem equipped to fight us at all. So we're on the draw with this. Looks pretty good. Banger hand? I mean, it's not a banger. None of our lands do damage, which is kind of annoying. But the acceleration coupled with the Calibrated Blast in the dark is, like, pretty much good enough for me. I almost wonder if I shouldn't have Gemstone Cavern like Bloodstained Mire, because I'm going to play a Bloodstained Mire on 1. Okay, it doesn't matter what we exiled, because they're on Tron. We just have to try to kill them. Might be on E-Tron. E-Tron would be a much better matchup. G-Tron would be kind of a pain. Steam Vent steals... Sorry, what? What wasn't that true that I said? I went for a 5-mile run with all the normal workout stuff that I do, spruced in there. And yeah, that is what I would worry about, Kaya, against E-Tron. That is 100% what I would worry about. And that may be something we have to worry about. We will see. And that's you, though. Like, I mean, I don't know how many E-Tron players are just like, yeah, we're going to chalice on 3, and then they're done for. Yeah, okay, I get it now, Jen and I. Thank you. Very clear. Very clear and useful information. You're right. Bloodstained Mire also dealt damage. Well, caused life loss. Actually, all of these just require life loss. And since I said deal damage and you're going to be pedantic, I'm going to have to actually you on that one. None of these lands deal damage. Karen? Karen. So depending on what... depending on what they get here, that'll dictate our response. Yep, I agree with that. We'll see what happens. I didn't mix up life loss and damage. I did not mix up life loss and damage at all. Vatantikov? You mean every match of Magic that has ever happened? Not every match, obviously, but many of them. Sundering Titan. Yeah, they're just setting up for next turn. There. I don't... I mean, clearly they don't really know what's happening here. That is my guess. My guess is they don't actually know what's up, and they're just guessing. Which is fair. Like, that's not... If you didn't know what was going on and you saw this mana base, I feel like Sundering Titan's pretty okay. Yeah, they're G-Tron, so they haven't brought shame on your house. That's the most important thing. I wonder if I can... I bet I can be really sneaky and put the stream chat... Oh, but then it's going to end up behind. Can I always on top this? Is anyone good with computers slightly better than I am? Is there any way that I can make sure OBS or a particular window just always is on top? All right, anyway. If I could do that, that would convenience my neck a little bit. Enemy bicycle lands. I mean, in theory, they're going to come eventually, right? All right, let's not screw up. All right, we got a 15. So that's going straight to the face. Oh, yeah, didn't even have to cycle. Better lucky than good. Here's where we hit their Throes of Chaos, put them to 1. Nope. Boom. If I remember correctly, you can download a program that's actually titled Always on Top that will do that. Okay, cool. I wonder if there's just a setting for this, though. I bet there is. Tools, help. I'm looking for preferences. Advanced audio. Oh, there it is. I just saw the option. Always on top. There we go. All right, perfect. So now I can sneak the chat on screen. Yeah, beautiful. So I guess I have to do it like this, and then I'll move it down if I need to check what's happening with the log. Okay, cool. That's actually awesome. I love this. Okay, this is beautiful. So we're against Tron. I'm definitely boarding out Boseiju. I guess I could bring in some like Consign to Oblivion. I mean, I don't. And Blast Zone doesn't do anything here. And Scavenger Ground doesn't do anything here. So obviously these are less than great hits on a Calibrated Blast, but we're going to have to resolve 2 anyway. Or a Scion of Draco. So I think this is fine. Although this does push us into a place where we might have to resolve 3, but what are you going to do? So we have Gemstone Caverns. We have no Blast. We do have a turn to Scion of Draco, which obviously is not good enough on its own. But I wonder if I'm just supposed to keep this and try to mise the Throes of Chaos or the Calibrated Blast. There's 6 copies in the deck, so it's like really not a particularly good chance. Barbecue hot sauce says mull. My instinct is mull, and then we mull this one too. And we go again to 4. I think at 4 we kind of have to stop. We go keep this, and we go probably bottom. Bottom. We go Gemstone, exile the Arid Mesa, factory, Piranha Marsh. Yeah. Our Tron player kept a 7, by the way. Classic Tron. Always keeps the 7s. It's a very consistent deck. That's one thing I've always been able to say about Tron, is that there's... as are we. Very consistent. I still think I'd rather start beating down with the factory than just like play this Blast on 3. Just because it's just not enough. Oh, well, thanks, Brian. I do what I can. Let's see if I get that move there and that move there. Good. I can see everything really nicely. The new mulligan rules certainly did not make Tron worse. True. Although at the first professional level tournament, I think that's correct. At the first professional level tournament in which Tron was playing with that new mulligan rule, one of their players was DCI banned. So... And I believe was revoked their Hall of Fame credential or their nomination. So maybe the London Mulligan wasn't good for Tron. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there that the Mulligan rule may not have been as good for Tron as we're thinking. It was marked cards. Their 12 Tron lands were marked. Yeah. Exactly, their 12 Tron lands were marked. No, it was actually really upsetting. They just skipped their turn. It was really upsetting for a lot of people. It was a very sort of stand-up, long-time sort of a player that people thought of as a very ethical, very upfront player. I think Japanese, definitely Asian. And was it Shuda or Yuya? I never remember. It was Yuya Watanabe, yeah, or Watanabe. Yeah. It was really, really quite. Yeah, that was a whole thing. And like again, up until that point, he was a player that people really thought of as being very, very ethical. If this is a Karn and they take up my Gemstone Caverns, we actually can't cast this Calibrated Blast. Yeah. But we just have to hit a red source. There are a lot of them. No. They had like bent corners. No. They had bent corners. It was very clear. So opponent chose wrong and will die, hopefully. Although we did board in some 8s. So that's not great. Although if we top deck an untapped land, we hit Emrakul. Cool. Bang. Got him! Should have cast the blast, then potentially hit the Karn with the desert. No, I can hit Karn with the desert? It's a learning stream. I bet you can do this with Ramunap Ruins, too. Nope. Oh, because this is each. Yeah, and then Sunscorched and Piranha are target. So they will be player Planeswalker. Yeah, you're right. No, and if you ask me as a judge, so in paper these definitely aren't print. Oh, this is Loses Life though. So in paper those have never been printed since they removed the Planeswalker redirection rule. Did you say easy? Because we got super lucky. Like, I don't think that was easy so much as it was lucky. I wanted to start out with something easy, Mord. I basically didn't play much Magic yesterday at all. So I played some Jumpstart on Arena. I think I played about 10 matches. I think I won almost. I think I might have won all of them. Which was pretty joyless. There we are, pretty lucky again. I have been told that this is not good enough. However, against a Lurrus deck, they may be on a bunch of discard. The only problem is if they're on discard plus Dothy Voidwalker to blank my Throws from growing the graveyard. I feel like keeping this because it's just like something in my gut says we're going to be against Lurrus plus discard. So I'm going to lead on Factory and see if I can hit him for 2-on-2. You always assume Lurrus is Hammer. I don't try to assume that the Lurrus means any deck in particular because there's just too many different things it can be. But I'm just expecting black cards. Nope, it's Hammer. Although I get to chip in for my 2 here, so... And this hand does look pretty okay. I know, Barbecue Hoss is just like on fire today. How you doing, Mord? Oh, nice Squire opponent. Is this the always on top app, Z Karuni? I clicked on it because I run no scripts, so I'm not worried. Oh no, I think Z Karuni is a bot. Yeah, I think Thopter Sword is definitely a totally viable deck. If you want to see a really good player play it, Contra Ego streams and tweets about his different we can all agree that sorry, so Contra Ego is a great streamer, does YouTube content and tweet and updates about that deck. hell? Jen and I, can you chat? It says you're not timed out, but I definitely timed you out. Alright, so we're getting hit for a bunch. So we need to draw a desert here. Oh, Jen and I won. There we go. That's why. All right, fixed it. You're good. You're back. Yeah, sorry. I forgot there was a 1 on your name. That's all. So we literally can't kill them, but we do have a way not to die, which is Blast Zone. So I mean, I wouldn't say that's true at all, Brian. The fact that Auto Wurm is 16. Oh, my bad. I counted it wrong earlier. That's a 50-50 though, and I'm pretty sure we're not going to die. So we should... Oh, now we may be dead. Okay. They need to have another hammer. It's not super unlikely. It's also not super likely. There's no way I can set up a block and then do this. So we just do this. Maybe we get it, maybe we don't. What I was looking for... It is 15. Okay, I counted it right. So what we're looking for here is to draw a desert or a piranha thing. No, it's got to be the desert because the piranha thing comes in tapped. Oh, no, yeah, we can because the Blast Zone removes the aid. So if they play the hammer in response to the Blast Zone, it dies. And if they don't, yeah. All right. Unfortunately, you want a card Autochthon Wurm. 10, GGG, white. Yeah, it's 15. I counted right. They're both 15s. They're both 15s. So we just can't kill them here. All right. But I have a 3/3 blocker. Huh. Okay, we can buy another turn. Yeah, we're not dead yet. I believe Autochthon... I think it's just pronounced Autochthon or something close to that, but I believe Autochthon means native. Like it's just like it is of this world. Wait, but they have to give pro colorless to get this through, which means the hammer falls off, so we're not dead again. We're in exactly the same spot. Can you cast Throws to kill the paladin and then retrace it? Yes, we could have. Oh, they could just attack with the giver. That's illegal. Oh, they didn't. Good. Yeah, we need to draw Sunscorched. We're in the same spot. Do it. Do it. Do it, you must. Do it. Give it pro colorless. Otherwise, I'm going to block it, and then you'll lose. Damn it. Okay. Coward. Coward! We could, we're going to cycle this. We could draw into Calibrated Blast plus the Piranha Marsh. So that's another available line. Desert? Desert. Yep, that's not going to do it. Okay, so now Now we bring in the Rough Tumble. Don't need Boseiju. Don't need Scavenger Ground. On the draw, we definitely want the Gemstone. Yeah, we got unlucky they never found a Horizon land there. I'm on the play. I just died. Oh, I am on the play. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. My brain is real goofy today. That's why I wanted to start with a deck like this. This looks pretty good. Yep. So this is mandatory tapped. So we're going to lead on this. This can be untapped. Oh, it's all good, Dylan. I'm like kind of fuzzy too. That's a good draw. I'm just going to pop off one of these Rough Tumbles to take out the Giver. We have a follow-up one next turn anyway, so... See ya! Rough Tumble, infamous for occasionally having legacy players true name Nemesis themselves. Because if you have protection from yourself, then it won't damage and kill your true name Nemesis and can wipe out the Delver and all the other threats. Alright. Do 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 bing bing bing. Saga Constructs, huh? That's what we're doing here. All right, so let's get this got now. We hit the Autochthon. Yep. Huh. Well, we've hit all of our Rough Tumbles. Which means, we can't flip into one on Calibrated Blast. So if they don't literally kill me here, we're okay. So, have you seen the new day-night mechanic? What do you think? I think it's great. I think it's a little confusing to read. And I think, so if you have listened to Mark Rosewater's podcast, Drive to Work, he's talked about a ludicrous number of things. Oh, they only need one hammer because this gets them a hammer. Forgot. Anyway, this is actually the original design for werewolves, was that you had the night-day cycle. It pulled a card in from outside the game. All right, we're just dead. Cool. We just board wipe. So this is flying. So Rough Tumble wouldn't have touched it. And this came in at instant speed at my end step. So we just couldn't deal with anything that they have. Which is fine. Hammer Time is one of the best decks in the format. Very, very fast. If it's against a deck like ours where it doesn't need to worry about speed, or sorry, about interaction, they can just do what they did there and kill us very, very quickly. Yeah, Hammer Time's just going to be about the hardest matchup for this deck, and that's fine. Like, their linear draws are better than ours. And their ability to grind is better than a lot of modern decks, so it's fine. Anywho, so the day-night mechanic, this is what they originally wanted to do. They kind of decided it was too complicated, and at the time, they didn't really design cards or mechanics that pulled in outside of the game pieces, but we've seen now that's been very successful and consistent. So what you need to know is that if you are used to playing with werewolves, this is going to basically be the same, except that you can't have the awkward thing you could have where you had untransformed and transformed werewolves on the same side of the board. That just won't happen anymore with the new cards. Obviously, it can happen between the old cards and the new cards, which is kind of awkward, but... What was our other loss? It was round 1 against Blue-Red Murktide, and it was very tight. I think we would have won game 1 if they didn't have main deck Spell Pierce. But they had main deck Spell Pierce, and they drew it. And they killed us. So, and the last game was pretty close, but again, they just had a little bit too much. Yeah, exactly. And in game 3, they were at 2, and I had Mishra's Factory and 5 mana. And I either Calibrated Blast out of my graveyard or try to attack them. They had 3 mana open and 3 cards. Did I win game 1? Okay, good. So I lost game 2, 3. Okay. I thought I lost the game with the Spell Pierce. If I won that one, then I'm just wrong. But it came down to basically deciding between attack for 2 with the Mishra's Factory or play Calibrated Blast out of the graveyard. And I gambled on the attack for 2, and they had a Lightning Bolt. And they didn't take out all the removal or anything. So, like, if they because they had put a Unholy Heat into their graveyard earlier that game, so. This one goes back. This one also goes back. Again, Blue-Red Murktide's gonna be a hard matchup for this deck. That's just a fact. So it's not anything to be particularly worried about. I said that in game 1 I thought we were going to have a pretty good matchup, but I really didn't appreciate how fast they can go when they know that they don't need to care about your opponent doing too much stuff. No, they only had like 3 cards, Barbecue Hoss, and but the most important thing was I think we made the right decision for the right reasons. So they didn't have that many cards left because they had played out both a Murktide and a Dragon's Rage Channeler. Good decks are a hard matchup for this deck. Well, I think Control's probably not too bad. Anything like Ponza or Emahayashi Red is probably not bad. I personally think that both of those decks are pretty okay. Perfect draw. So this is Enchantress. So this should be pretty okay. But I'm not 100%. Enchantress seems bad. I mean, it just depends, right? It depends on their draws. Like, they'll have some draws that make it impossible for us to win on turn 2. And then they'll have other draws where they don't do anything and they die. Yeah, but that doesn't always happen that early in the game, Wangor, because the card that gives them Shroud is not something that they're planning on doing on turn 3. I think some of the better builds are down to 1 or 2 copies of... what is it called? They have 3 to 4 Leyline of Sanctity in the board? I don't believe you. I think it's possible some of them do, but I don't feel like that's a fact. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Yeah, Solitary Confinement. So I think we just attack here. This should go through. It puts them to lethal. I want to play the card in my hand that is least likely to tip them off about what I'm about to do. I think it's a non-red source. I'm not, Dylan. I think this deck is a blast. Pun intended. I do think that the way Modern is constructed, most of the tier 1 decks are problematic for this deck. Because they run a lot of cheap interaction that does interact with you. However, discard is not that good against this deck, so that helps. So this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, I cannot imagine they play a Solitary Confinement this turn. They could, absolutely, but I wouldn't imagine that they will. Game 2 and 3, that's going to be a little tougher. Yeah, I Yep, that's fine. You got it, OP. Hand-hate interaction. Right, and we dodge all the creature interaction. There's literally nothing for them to Prismatic, Ending, or Unholy Heat, for the most part. I mean, obviously they can get the Factory occasionally, but... so... how will I ever cast the Blast? That's a good question. Oh, we only did 12! Alright, well... we get to run it back next turn, so hopefully it's good enough. It might not be. Well, this deck dodges a lot of hate in general. Opponent said Jesus in all caps. I appreciate you, opponent. I do. It might not seem like it, but I definitely do. Hold on, I gotta get my wind sock back on my microphone here. Yeah, they had the Solitary in hand. Not doing that EOT may cost us. Oh, you're totally right. My bad. I just forgot. I was over eager to kill them. You're right, you're right. If I had played this optimally, we would have had a much better chance. Now we're in big trouble. Yeah, I think we basically don't have an out now. I mean, the out is that they somehow don't... That's definitely not true, Ashanti. People like novelty. People like innovation. People like enthusiasm, which Dylan has in spades. So I think it's definitely not true at all that this deck is only extant because of any one thing. Yeah, there you go. Like, nobody has time for that. Are you kidding? He's a dad. He's a dad with a full-time job. Yeah, lots of people want it. Like, it's a cool thing. All right, it's hard to tell in chat, Ashanti. My bad. Did you? Oh, very nice. Good stuff. Give us a Kappa next time. Give us a Kappa. And yes, Consign to Oblivion could get blanked by them having Shroud and the Solitary. I really was hoping we were going to get game one. This is going to be really hard. Would a couple of sideboard cut to ribbons be a decent answer to Hexproof Shroud? Yeah, decent, but if it comes down at a reasonable speed, no. Yeah, and then if you cascade into it, if you blast for it, it's really bad. All right, I think this is our keep. We'll draw lands in our 40 land deck, right? But even 5 is not enough, right, Ginya? Ginya Jeff? No, I mean, I assume this deck had legs the whole time along just because, you know, I've played these decks before and, like, I went 2-3 with, like, a very untuned version. This just seems better than what I was doing. Well, that's unfortunate. I got the mandatory tap land because I thought we were going to draw red source for sure, but I'm pretty sure... I was going to... Turn 2 Scion seems good enough. In one of my previous hands, I didn't have turn 2 Scion. Because I didn't have the ability to double fetch. Man, this is rough. Alright, should have gotten the Steam Vent. That's on me. Alright, that's just me prioritizing the wrong thing when I was fetching there. Completely. But let's see if we just get wrecked here anyway. So... pretty sure we will. But definitely maybe lost the game one to the punt. And then probably losing game 2 to a punt. All right, so they have the Greater Oromancy, which means we're not going to be able to bounce any of their shit. Blood Moon is fine-ish. Oh, wait, whoa. Stop. Thank you, opponent. I believe you've died. Got him! Alright, so there's only 12. Next one should get them. This is 7. So that'll be enough if we hit it. Uh-oh. Yeah, it was probably correct to upkeep it, but whatever. Come on, baby. That's the big one! And send them packing. Always do it upkeep. Yeah, Well, no, hold on. No, hold on. There's way more lands. Oh, we can't hit lands. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, you're right. Oh, I wanted the gemstones back. The 2 gemstones I cut. Listen, I'm still new here. Yeah, we shooped-a-whooped him. That was the best. Nice Blood Moon, nerd. Yeah, we're not keeping that. Upkeeping it doesn't change the odds. Actually, it does. Because it doesn't change the odds between what you're going to hit, like a non-15, 16 cost, or sorry, 12, 15 cost, or not. But you might draw one of, as we did, you might draw one of the 15s. So yeah. Is there a reason to do it on upkeep? I feel like it's just less info. I think it's better. I think it's better across the board. All right, so this is the hand we keep. We ship one of the Bloodstained Mires. Yep. Oh. All right, so now we have to draw one of the consigns. Do you have to do a math show for the deck? I mean, you don't need to do a math show, but like, you just have to explain the theoretical. Yeah, that's the biggest problem. Is your okay then. So Piranha Marsh into Steam Vents. So as long as they don't have turn 2 Oromancy or oh. Oops. Whoops. Oh, but the turn 2 Oromancy doesn't matter. They can actually cast Leyline in their deck. Also, that is life gain. Yeah, it's just, again, one of those things that I didn't think about. I definitely would have told you that that's how that works, but, yeah, this is life gain, unfortunately. So we're just in a situation where we're going to have to double blast. So at the moment, we kind of need to get up to about 5 mana. And of course, they can cast Leyline again if we bounce it, so... Yeah, the matchup seems tough. We stole game 2, but because we lost game 1 to my poor sequencing... well, let's not call it sequencing. Let's say bad decision-making. Yep. So they're going to cast like 80 turns, or 80 cards next turn. Going to gain all the life they need. Because currently we have to go up to about turn 5, and their draw is just too fast. So since we need to go to turn 5 anyway, in which case we go Consign Blast, I actually think I should kill one of these. And the real question is which one of them. I think it's got to be Sanctum Weaver. Especially because this is legendary, so if they have another one, it's just... We have an out. We have a very clear out. Our out is going to be, when we hit 5 mana, we go EOT, bounce the ley line, blast you, untap, blast you. That's the plan. And in order to get there, we just need to buy time. Because that is theoretically going to be 30 damage, right? Now, obviously, adjusting for luck, yeah, sure, we're going to lose. But it's still possible we take this. Dylan, your chat is... Okay, now we're probably screwed. Yep. I mean, we might be. We'll see. They might sacrifice it, though. You never know. Yeah, there's plenty of people on your side, man. But I would say that what I'm seeing here is the way the average Twitch chat would respond to this deck after the first couple games. Okay, just need a little bit more here. So we do have Blast Zone in the deck. There's only exactly one Genya Jeff. So that's... Yeah, you could play more. Listen, opponent, you should definitely sack that Sterling Grove. It's just the way the world is. There's just no way it's not correct. All right, we're done here. So they have a Greater Oromancy and the Sterling Grove. So we got a 2-3. I definitely punted a few games away. So that would have given us a more reasonable chance to do better with this deck. I'll say I had fun. It's quick. And there is... there's definitely room for innovation. If you are not someone who wants to win with an amount of luck influencing your games, this is not for you. That said, I think it's pretty stacked. I think this deck is well constructed in terms of being stacked. How did Piranha Marsh feel? Fine. Yeah, really good. Having a few extra lands that do a couple of points of damage was very relevant. It being an ETB tap land was occasionally almost problematic. It didn't actually end up being a problem anywhere, but it could have been. The sheer number of lands in this deck is definitely something that I will say I think the mana base, the lands are the biggest potential spot for improvement. I think you could play more copies of Blast Zone in the 75. I think you could play. Yeah, I think the Piranha Marsh is worth it. I'm just saying it was like almost problematic, and it is hard sometimes. In some of these games, the 1 damage doesn't matter because you overkill them. Thoughts on possibly running more Desert Matters card? Well, which ones are good enough? Because Ramunap Ruins is by far the best one, right? Especially in this deck. That said, we never did use it, but I can definitely see this being an important card to have in this deck. Very much so. Ban in Standard, people. Ban in Standard. Still. Not legal to play this card in Standard. Yeah. So, anywho. if you are in the future and on the YouTube watching this, make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and check out any of my other videos that you are interested in, and I will see you there.